together and chat with the artists and hear about their home, or where do they consider home to be. So and of course, this is part of the Global Forms Theater Festival. And I've been giving some background information about this festival because I really think it's pretty amazing. We came together 6 weeks ago, like all of us are international artists based in New York. And we're like, there's no acting work right now. There's no designing work right now. What do we do with all this creative energy that we have? And so we decided to come together to put together an international theater festival. And there you have it. You know, Global Forms is only one of the program for the festival. So if you want to find out more, I'm sure there are websites and links that you can click. And I think that's enough background information. So let me tell you more about our artists for today. So as you can see, all the flags right here and all the game faces right here, we have Dina, who is from Egypt, and Hanjie, who's from Singapore, and I'm from Singapore too, so shout out to Singapore. And you can see that there's a flag of the United Kingdom in the middle, because the both of them grew up in Egypt and the UK, and Singapore and the UK. So we thought it would be interesting to put the both of them on the same panel so that we can actually try and figure out, you know, like the world is so big, but somehow I'm hoping to find out, and I fingers crossed, that your years in the UK hopefully overlap a little, and are those very formative years? And if so, how has your culture from the Middle East and from Asia overlap in the UK? How does it affect you? And of course, today we're going to talk about those experiences through 3 anecdotes and 3 jokes. So we're going to start with 3 anecdotes. And Dina, would you take us away? Share with us the first anecdote from Egypt/UK, if you would, and take us to Egypt. Take us away from the reality.
Okay. Well, the trajectory of my life has been, I grew up in England and used to spend summers in Egypt. And then I moved to Egypt when I was 18 and lived there for 7 years. And then I moved out here to New York, and I've been here 8-ish years. The connecting thread throughout my whole entire life has been, ever since I was a kid, everyone has made fun of my accent. England, Egypt, New York, everyone's made fun of it.
Would you say that your accent is a mishmash of all 3? American, Egyptian, and English?
Yes, and some people here in New York claim they can hear all 3, and I'm like, how many of you know what an Egyptian accent sounds like? I don't know an Egyptian. I know it, I can make fun of it, and I know it, and I lived it and stuff like that, but you know, who actually knows what an Egyptian accent sounds like? I get a lot of, oh, are you South African, or are you Australian? And like, I get it, it's really muddled, but let me start you on my journey of the most iconic things that people made fun of me for. And I guess that actually precedes my childhood, because I suppose my dad, having immigrated to the UK, must have understood, you know, the accents, different accents in the UK indicate different social class levels. So my dad has, I guess, an arguably slightly posher voice, or at least he elongates his vowels the way you would assume somebody posher would do. So I must have picked that up in childhood, and I grew up in an area that was not that posh. I grew up in good old Croydon. David Bowie, I think, was from there, and he used to say, you know, whenever he wanted to disparage something, he'd say, it's so fucking Croydon. So enjoy that. So I think I must have had a slightly posh accent as a kid, because I once, in my first high school, I think we were 11, I said something like, I don't think so. Suddenly all the kids around me were like, oh my god, I don't think so, oh, it's so posh, you know, I don't think so. Like, it haunted me. I don't think so haunted me. And then,
but I wouldn't think that they're making fun of it. It sounds like they're envious of it.
No.
Right? It was from a mean-spirited place?
That when you're at school. That's
No.
what you think about.
Okay. Got it.
But that's the difference, because British kids know that a posh person's out of place. But I wasn't posh. I just had a slightly posh accent.
Oh, okay.
And then that was me thinking, okay, I'm slightly posh, great. I moved to Egypt, and Arabic is my second language, Egyptian Arabic. Number one, I can hear the British in my Egyptian Arabic. So if I want to say like Yalahui, or oh my god in Arabic, people have made fun of me for the way I say it because I sound British when I say it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another example of where the making fun of my accent happened. And then another new thing happened where I would just be mid conversation with somebody, and the person opposite me would just start imitating me, and my posh accent might be, oh, it's because you're British, so I need to copy you, like this. And it followed me around in Egypt.
So much too, yeah.
The irony being, Egyptians don't understand British English. The bigger irony being, Egypt was colonized by the Brits. How do you not understand? Whatever.
Yeah.
Then I moved to the US. Same thing happened here. Oh, like mid conversation, someone would just imitate me. So it's something that has followed me throughout. But at least in the US, it's a different flavor because they're like, "Where are you from? Where are you really from? I thought you were Australian. I thought you were South African." So the accent has been. Oh, actually, even funnier thing.
Yes.
So here's me thinking for the rest of my life I had this posh accent. I acknowledge it's muddled. I go back to the UK. I go to my dentist. The assistant is like, "Wow, your accent's really Americanized, isn't it?" I go back to Egypt. Yeah, you say like a lot. You say like a lot.
I'm guilty of that too. Yeah. America has made me say like a lot. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I cringe when I watch myself at these panels because I think, oh my God, I say like a lot.
Yeah.
And the final thing, the icing on the cake, I thought I had this posh accent. I start to work on this project with a British director. We start talking about accents. He tells me that there's a grading system, which I never even thought about, but I guess there's A1 for the poshest, A2, B1, B2, I don't know if you've ever heard of this either, but apparently there is. I find out I'm probably B1 or B2, and he's like A or A2 or whatever.
Who gives out those grades? Who made someone the judge of how posh an accent is? I'm so curious right now.
Well, I suppose A1 is the Queen's English, which I don't have. So then I realized. So then I guess the play that we're working on includes different dialects from the UK or different accents.
Yeah.
So he tells one of the actors, and this is all loving. I don't have any anger towards it whatsoever.
Yeah.
He tells one of the actors to talk to me because I have the Croydon glottal stop. I'm like, what? You remove the T's. You have a glottal stop.
Okay.
Now I realize my accent isn't posh. Now I realize I'm a slightly posh Croydner.
Glottal stop.
Yeah, like instead of saying whatever, I say whatever.
Whatever.
Yeah, but that's a glottal stop.
Whatevs. Okay.
Ah.
So that's part one of, I guess, whatever anecdote.
Yeah. Okay, I have a question. Just for educational purposes, can we all say the same line in Egyptian accent, Hanjie in Singaporean accent, and I guess in a UK accent? Wait, Dina's version of UK accent and Hanjie's version of UK accent. How about, let's say, global gap, cross-cultural conversations? How about that?
Sure.
Okay, Dina, would you please give us this one line in your UK accent?
Global gap, cross-cultural conversations.
Hanjie, your version of UK accent.
Global. I can't do it now. Global gab, cross-cultural discussion. Well, yeah.
Conversations. You just changed the whole word.
Global gab, cross-cultural conversation.
Okay. I hear a little bit of a difference in how you guys tackle the word cultural. It's like, I mean, I'm not a speech expert, but that's just to my average ear. What about the Egyptian accent? Egyptian accented English. Dina, please.
I'm gonna try it. Might not be correct, but
Mhm.
global gap, cross cultural. No, wait. Global gap, cross cultural conversations.
Okay.
It might not be correct.
Yeah, but at least we get a sense of what it's like. All right, Hanjie, you got this in Singapore English.
Global gap, cross-cultural conversation. that was actually get me into an actual conversation and I'll fall into it way easier.
No, that was pretty good. It felt like I was back in Singapore.
No excuse. You're an actor. You should be prepared for these things.
I know, but like so the thing with my Singaporean accent is it can't come out until like I'm speaking to like another Singaporean or if I'm speaking to my mom.
That's fair.
Like
yeah.
it's hard for me to like, unless I like, say if I have like a monologue or something and they say, oh, do this in a Singaporean accent, like I'll have time to like prepare it and make the sound shifts. Sure, it'll take me a much shorter time to do it, but I can't be like, oh, just go right into it.
Yeah, you need people from Singapore. I mean, Dina, no offense, but if it's just Hanjie and I this chat group, we would just go on and on in Singapore English, but you wouldn't understand us.
You wouldn't understand because then it goes into
like, why don't you show us?
Sorry, say that again, Dina.
I was literally about to be like, why don't you show us?
Why don't we show you? Okay, Hanjie, should we talk about like what we had for breakfast in Singapore English?
No, actually no. Today I actually had kaya toast.
You know what? I bought a jar of kaya, right, from
Really?
the American grocery store. Not good, man.
No, no, cannot. No, I bought mine from Singapore. I went.
I'm so jealous.
I went last August. I bring back about 6 jars.
6 jars. Wow, the immigration never stopped you.
I'm not so shook on kaya toast. Kaya toast and cold butter. Oh.
Wow, I can just eat kaya toast like it's ice cream. I just dig in and put it in my mouth. Okay.
Yeah, so I had kaya toast for breakfast.
How was that for you, Dina? Did you understand what we said? How much did you catch?
Some of it.
It was all in English, by the way.
It was all in, yeah.
Well, yeah, you're referencing products that I didn't understand.
Fair enough. So kaya is like a kind of like a coconut jam that is so popular in Singapore, and we spread it on bread. So kaya toast. Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah. All right. You know what? That was so much fun, and we made it into like a 3-way conversation. But let's take a little break from Dina. Hanjie, would you please share with us your first anecdote? And you know what? I might move on to jokes really soon because I think the 3 of us are pretty funny together.
Yeah, actually, no. Right? Going off from what Dina said and like the accent thing, that a lot of that is kind of what I went through as well. Like the whole growing up with a different accent, then adopting that accent, and then it just changes all the time. And now it's kind of like it is like a mishmash of accents. And Dina and I were talking very briefly before this whole thing started, that like it can be really disarming for people to like talk to us and then realize and then hear like a different accent come out of my mouth. It's disarming for them, and it's fine. They probably just like expect like a Chinese accent coming out of my mouth. So I don't know. They do not expect whatever comes out of my mouth. So it's very disarming, and it's something that is that I can definitely use to my advantage sometimes. Mm-hmm. But other times it's just like, okay, when they start having the whole, where are you from? No. Where are you really from? And yeah, it gets frustrating at that point. But yeah, no, I mean, I grew up in so many. I've spent so much time in different places. I was in Singapore till I was 10, and I was in the UK till I was 18, and then I went back to Singapore again for the national service. So that was rubbish. And then I spent a few years in Wales. where, you know, like in North Wales, where the accent there is also totally different to South Walian accents. But like I had such a great time in Wales that like, even though I don't speak Welsh, like I can do place names really well. Like
Let's hear
Welsh
it.
place names really, really well. Like there's this one place name in Wales that I think it's, no, not I think, I know is like the second longest place name in the world behind the first behind a place in New Zealand, which has like a gazillion letters in it. But the Welsh place name has 58 letters.
Whoa.
So yeah.
In one word?
It's one word.
Okay.
And it goes a little like and that is 58 letters, and it means it's a very poetic meaning. It's a very, very poetic meaning, and it means St. Mary's Church in the hollow of the white hazel, near to the fierce whirlpool of St. Cecilio of the Red Cave.
Whoa, they managed to fit all that in 58 characters?
58 letters, yeah.
That's very impressive. That's very short.
Yeah, and if you like if you ever Google like the longest place name in Wales, that'll come up, and it's actually a very small town, and it's a tourist attraction purely because of the name, and people like take the train up there and like jump off the train, take photos of the train station sign, and like go off on their merry way. Because there's actually there's really not much else to the town.
They just go and take like a selfie with the sign, and they just peace out.
It's a really long sign. It's a really long sign.
Okay.
And so I used to live like down the road from that town, which is why I know there's nothing there. It's like this little countryside, kind of picturesque Welsh countryside town. But yeah, that's its one of its draws. It's got the longest place name, or second longest place name in the world. But yeah, I can do Welsh place names pretty well.
Okay, I hope that's on your actor's resume.
Oh yeah, Welsh place.
You never know when.
You never know.
Exactly. Yeah, you never know. Exactly. All right, so I'm looking at time right now. Dina, can we hear a joke from you? Is it an Egyptian joke that you would like to share with us? Or if you feel like it, you can continue with the anecdotes as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have about 8-10 more minutes, and then we should start moving on to talk about other things.
Yes.
To share more about your work.
Yeah. I don't have.
Oh no, Dina froze.
Or like.
All right, Dina, give it a second.
The memory
you froze a little bit.
And you've frozen.
Oh, you're frozen too. Hanjie.
I can hear you, Jody.
Oh, Dina, you're frozen.
Oh no.
Oh no.
I think it's acting up.
It's okay. She did say that her connection is a little finicky.
Wait,
okay.
Oh, there you are. You're not frozen anymore.
Okay.
Okay, can you repeat whatever you just said a minute ago?
I didn't. I was like, oh my god, you guys froze.
Okay.
The jokes that I kind of like are the English and Arabic hybrid jokes. But I don't know if it would be lost on you guys because you don't speak Arabic. But
try us.
Yeah.
The whole point is cross-cultural. Try us.
Yeah, concerning
Oh, you know what?
Bottle stop. So in Egyptian Arabic, we have, when we write Arabic in English, we have, I guess, numbers that we replace the Arabic letters with. So like, as an example of this, there's the letter Aleph, which is, let me see if I could do this backwards. Is that backwards on you guys, for you guys?
Is it kind of like a question mark kind of a shape? I'm trying to follow your finger. Oh no, you froze again. Oh no. It's okay. The world of Zoom, huh? Oh, there you are. You're unfrozen again.
1 sec.
Oh, perfect. Paper and pen. See, we're so digital, but sometimes
it's
paper,
like
you still need paper. Okay, so it's kind of like a small C on top and then a long line at the bottom.
Well, I didn't do it so well, but
Yeah. So what is the sound of that again?
so it's like Aleph, or
Aleph.
I guess, or like this would be a glottal stop if it's on its own. Obviously, Egyptian speakers can correct me, but you know, when this is on its own, it's like sound.
Sound. Okay.
But for the glottal stop. So in mid conversations, I'm gonna write no, but phonetically in English. We replace the Aleph or the I can't even remember what the glottal stop is called in Arabic. But like with a number 2.
Yeah.
So if I was to write whatever, I would write it like this.
What to Eva?
Well, you say whatever. You won't.
Whatever.
This
because that's a glottal stop. Whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever.
So I once saw this this meme online, and I just thought it was funny. So I appreciate jokes like that, like
linguistic jokes.
Because the joke is that in theory, Egyptian Arabic is understood by everyone. In theory, the way American Arabic is in theory understood by English. Yeah. Is like the global English. But the irony is that Egyptian is kind of similar to British in this aspect. Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah. Thank you for showing us that. I love it. It's like an insight to your brain on how what's your very specific, sense of humor. I appreciate you sharing that with us. All right, Hanjie, do you have your version of what's funny to you?
Okay, this is like
joke.
This is like it's a Singaporean joke, but like it's
Rose again.
Dad joke actually. So okay.
Did you say dad joke or bad joke?
Both.
I can't hear you.
Wait, can you hear us, Dina? Yeah?
You can hear us, yeah?
Yeah, I can hear you. Keep going, and I think Dina's connection might resolve itself in a little bit. Okay, yeah.
So the joke is, and I'll do this in a Singaporean accent. Just
yes, please.
It's a bit more richer.
More richer is so Singapore. It's just richer or more rich.
It's more rich. So it's more rich. Okay. So why did the palm tree get struck by lightning?
Why did the palm tree get struck by lightning? Wait, are we supposed to answer?
If you want, if you know what it is.
Dina, do you want to give it a shot? Why did the palm tree get struck by lightning? Oh, can she hear us? I think she can't hear us. Okay, it's okay. I'll give it a try. Oh no. Her audio. It's okay. I'll keep going.
Cool. So why did the palm tree get struck by lightning?
Because it is fanning out.
Close, but because it's sway. And
wait, we have to tell everyone what it is.
Of course, we have to explain it because it's sway. Sway in this instance, so sway is a Singaporean / Singlish colloquialism, and it has its the way it's used in this joke has its English meaning, in which like the trees sway, but also the Singlish colloquialism means bad luck, as in like it just has really terrible luck. So why did the palm trees get struck by lightning? Because A, the trees are swaying, and B, because it has bad luck. Yeah,
Dina, I know that your audio was off for a little bit, but I cracked up laughing. Did you hear the joke?
No.
Okay, so Hanjie, would you please
So why did the palm tree get struck by lightning?
Don't know why.
Because it's sway. It's
Okay, because as he explained, sway has double meaning. It means like swaying from side to side and bad luck. So like if like I were to like break my glass right now, I'll be like, oh, I'm so sway. But also I'm so sway. I'm sway.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like what you're saying too, like the whatever. It's kind of like a mishmash of cultural meanings, because sway is Hanjie, correct me if I'm wrong, it's kind of like a dialect word, right?
I think it's Hokkien, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's kind of like, so the Mandarin is the root language, and then there's like different dialects that fans out, and so Hokkien is one of it, and sway is a Hokkien word for bad luck.
Well, that's what makes the whole thing interesting, is that it's not just one language. Like you can break it down into different accents and dialects the way you can recognize it in England and in the US and stuff like that. So it's all really interesting, even if I don't personally understand that joke.
Yeah.
Totally.
But like, I love it.
Yeah, amazing. All right, we have time for maybe either one more anecdote or one more joke. So Dina, take your pick. Or if Hanjie has one, you can go first.
Oh, no.
Joke. You want a joke.
Again, it's a similar vein. It's like, it's so silly. But what's noisier, coffee or bread?
Coffee or bread? What is noisier?
I think it was wrong. Is it?
Coffee.
Is it bread?
Because coffee goes.
Not quite, but bread. Because bread talk and kopi tiam.
Dina, we have to explain this.
No, but like.
No, we have to explain it to you because.
I know, but I missed. I thought it was a British joke. I didn't think it was a Singaporean joke.
It's a. Oh well, to be fair, Singapore was a British colony too. So the way that we teach British English in Singapore, we use the R vowel instead of the A vowel. So rightfully, you might think that we're talking about British jokes. But Hanjie, would you please explain to Dina about bread talk and coffee tiam?
So what's noisier, coffee or bread? And it's bread because bread. So bread talk is a chain of like bakeries in Singapore, and kopitiam, which is basically like Hokkien for like a coffee shop. But that has a double meaning because tiam, the second meaning of tiam is also to be quiet.
Yeah, it's kind of like when you get into a fight with people and then you keep wanting them to like shut the F up. You go, hey, tiam.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of aggressive that way.
So tiam means to be quiet, and kopi is coffee. Is Malay for coffee. So the punchline being bread talk, the chain of bakery, and coffee is quiet.
Yeah. So those are very Singaporean jokes.
It's so silly. But.
I just feel like it's funny because it should have been obvious to you, but me, someone who doesn't understand it, I guess correctly.
No, this is like a perfect setup for a sitcom.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. I love it. There's like so many cultures and so many interpretations and so many potential interpretations of everything that's flying around here. Thank you so much. I mean, you commented that I love how you both are laughing so hard. And Dina and I are like, what? What?
I'm like, what? But I kind of get it, but I don't.
It's okay. That is also a perfect space to live in,
Absolutely.
All right, Dina, would you take us home with a final anecdote or a joke?
I think it's not an anecdote, but it's just one of my favorite puddings is bread and butter pudding, right?
Bread pudding?
Do you like know, or you like I love it?
Love it.
Okay.
Oh, I don't get bread pudding.
But I was trying to Google the origins, but I guess it has a boring origin in the UK. Like they were trying to soak up the scraps from whatever.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. But Egyptian bread pudding known as omali, which is
Omali.
Ali's mother, has like an epic backstory, or like a couple of different versions. And the two that I was reading up on was that there was this like Egyptian sultana called Shagrat Dor. Probably butchered the name, so forgive me, Egyptian friends. And I guess either one story is she had her husband murdered, and the husband's first wife, who was married to both Shagrat and the other lady, who was called Omali, celebrated by creating this dish, Omali. You know?
Dark.
Yeah. The other one is, so I've heard multiple stories. I've heard that Shagrat got Omali killed, and so they named the dish after her. But the other one is Omali got Shagrat killed, and so they named the dish after Omali. But either way, the dish gets named after Omali and a murderer. So
No, it depends on, like, you know how like when two people fight, they have their versions of the story.
yeah, other versions of the story was like whoever was killed by like wooden clogs or slippers.
Like
So-
on the head?
Beat to death.
Oh.
So I'm just like, we have more epic bread pudding. Is what-
Oh, as you're eating it, do you feel, you know, wouldn't it be the scariest
you feel
thing?
the weight of history.
No, wouldn't it be the scariest thing if you're eating it and then you hear wooden clocks behind?
Imagine the vivid setting for a horror film.
Egyptian horror film. Yeah, idea right there.
Yeah, O'Malley comes back to life every time you eat her pudding.
Remind me never to eat bread pudding when I'm in Egypt.
Well, actually, you're missing out because it's such a really good dish.
Upside, it tastes really good. All right, thank you for that. Okay, Yue says, I feel being open-minded and having curiosity are so important in cross-cultural communication. Yeah, you said it, Yue. That's why we are we're having all these sessions. So I think a perfect way to wrap up our session is to hear from the both of you on what we have heard about your time in Singapore and Egypt and the UK, but what are you doing in the US right now? And what is your work? What does it mean to you? How is it important to you? So I guess Dina just shared about the horror bread pudding. Now we can pass the mic over to Hanjie. Would you please share with us about your work in the US?
Yeah, I mean, so I'm first and foremost an actor, but I also work in costume production. I'm the costume shop associate at the New York Theatre Workshop, and I'm also a production photographer. But I would say the work that I love and the kinds of work and themes that I'm a total sucker for are informed by my upbringing, like, you know, my this mishmash of cultures that I've adopted. So I'm a total sucker for works that deal with identity, culture, and yeah, and like the conflicts that arise from those ideas. So yeah, like as an actor, I love reading new plays that sorry, it's all kicking off in Brooklyn.
No, I love it because you know what? This is a true New York experience. You can't go 45 minutes into a Zoom session without hearing
sirens.
siren. So everybody, we are really in New York.
Exactly. But yeah, so I love I love working with new plays that deal with those themes, that deal with culture, identity, and the conflicts that arise from that. And
Yeah. So would you say that what is the most recent piece of work that you're most excited about?
Oh my God!
In recent years, maybe.
Yeah, actually, the one that we just recently worked on at the New York Theatre Workshop was by, and this is a piece that, like, she knows that it's so near and dear to my heart, but Martina Mayock's Sanctuary City. She recently put that on at the New York Theatre Workshop, and it was directed by Rebecca Frecknell, who is a British director, and we staged it right before the lockdown hit, And so it was only like, I think we were only in the second week of previews, and then and then the production got closed, unfortunately. But that play, if it ever comes back to New York again, that is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful play that deals with immigration, that deals with the idea of home, that deals with culture, and and whether and how, like, the country in which you were born in or raised in, grew up in, and how that affects your identity.
Yeah.
And so that play is heartbreaking, and was performed by a wonderful cast. So yeah, if that ever comes back to New York, like, check that out. It's called
let us
Section
know.
City. Yeah.
Thank you for that, Hanjie. All right, Dina, would you please share with us more about your work in the US?
I've spent the past few years working as a costume designer for theater and film. It's been mostly theater this past year, but I love both for different reasons. I also, like Hanjie, prefer, very specific identity-centered pieces, but I've also kind of found my niche in what's like Middle Eastern, North African, occasionally South Asian pieces. A lot of them are about the Arab American experience or historical Middle Eastern, North African experiences. And at first I was not interested because I'm like, I could do more, but at the same time I'm very honored to do it because it's obviously an unrepresented field. And as someone who is closer to these cultures, I feel like, someone like me is needed because I can tap into the research or the cultures a lot more easily. So it's just stuff that I sort of live for and love to design. And the show that I was working on prior to the stop of everything was actually a new play by Mona Mansour called The Vagrant Trilogy, which is set in 1960s Palestine, 1960s like UK, and 80s UK, and then Lebanon in the early 2000s. So it's sort of my weird particular niche of Middle Eastern, North African, and my UK combined together. So that was sort of the dream project. So I hope to return to it when this all dies down. But
yeah, it does sound like it. It's almost like you were in the right place at the right time for that project.
Yeah. That hadn't existed. I also live for plays like East is East. I wish somebody would produce that. Or I really loved An Ordinary Muslim that New York Theatre Workshop did a few years ago. So.
Oh, New York Theatre Workshop. Have you guys ever crossed paths?
No, I feel like maybe in this, like, very similar circles.
Yes.
Like very, very close circles, but like ships ships passing in the night, like really, really close. But like, I don't believe we like ever.
Have you guys ever crossed paths in the UK?
No, I don't.
Trying to find that out. When did you live there, sir? Because I left in 20.
Do you remember the year?
2005. Well, yeah. I mean, I know how old I was. If I'm not speaking myself, I left in 2005. The last time I was there was 2013.
Okay, I left in 2014. So I was there from like 2000 to 2002, 2008, then 2010 to 2004.
Oh, so we overlapped in the early 2000s.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't it? I don't know. Maybe it's a boring piece of information to people, but I feel excited by that.
No, for sure. It's a very like, what if we actually, like, at some point were
Yeah, I mean, we kind of all cross paths right now, but we haven't I haven't met Dina physically, and I haven't met Hanjie physically, but our time in New York is overlapped right now, and that is so exciting too.
It is very exciting, for sure.
Yeah, it is very exciting. Dina, I have one last question for you, and I think we can wrap up the session with that. Do you feel that you're seeing more and more the works that you're excited about coming up in New York? Like you're talking about, designing for a Palestinian set, an Egyptian set, a Lebanon set. Do you feel like there's more and more of those cultural demands in the theater scene or film scene in New York?
I think it's sort of slowly growing.
Okay.
Like maybe I'm a little bit impatient and would like it to grow faster, but not being American, I'm like, I would like a British story or a story that's directly in Egypt and has nothing to do with America, so I'm a little bit impatient for those kind of stories, but definitely you see the work happening, and as somebody in the community, I'm really proud of seeing the work that's being generated, and it's there. There's always this assumption, well, we can't find them, but it's there, and I'm hoping that with the new paradigm shift, people will want to invest in more diverse stories and more representative stories too. So
yeah, I hope so too. Us coming to New York, bringing all the cultural experiences we have with us, and I feel like we have so much to offer. Should there be like just to like last year I did a play at Studio Theater. It was called White Pearl. It was a play set in Singapore.
I saw that,
yeah, with 7 different Asian accents, and I got to play a Singaporean with my Singlish accent. What you heard, Hanjie and I went back and forth, and never in my mind would I ever imagine that I would be in the US where a play with Singlish is being embraced.
Exactly. Like I want to see that in the future, and I'm hoping,
And it also kind of feels like what you said, like in the right place at the right time, and we closed, like when we were doing the show in DC at Studio Theater, it was when the pandemic was starting in China. So we got to wrap up our show, the whole season, and we actually extended for a week, but the show after us had to be closed early. So I kind of feel like, I got lucky to be finishing the show, just like how Hanjie was talking about that show that he was so passionate about, and there was like 2 weeks of previews.
Yeah.
At least there was 2 weeks of previews, so we really got to treasure everything that we can get right now. But you know what, Dina, Hanjie, thank you so much for your time. I had so much fun.
Yeah,
this doesn't feel like work. This feels like 3 friends chatting about the world and oh, I love how you did your hair flip right there. Hanjie, would you please flip your hair with us?
Your hair.
All right, so for everyone who's watching live on Facebook, this video will live there. So do check out Dina's work. Do check out Hanjie's work. We have one more Global Gap session tomorrow. And on Sunday, we will have a highlight session with Salma and I. And we will have some highlight from you too as well. So be sure to check us out. All right, so we'll see everyone real soon for the rest of Global Forms. And thank you, everyone who is here. All right, I guess now we say goodbye and we log off. That's the awkward part, right? All right, bye-bye, everyone. Thank you so much for your time, Dina and Hanjie. Bye.
For having us.